Hello friends, this is Chetan Vitlani. Today I will discuss about Oracle Database Security Assessment Tool. But before I go to that, here's the safe harbor statement. So this presentation I delivered during Oracle User Group event, live event. It is also known as Sangam 16 on 11th November 2016. This is a recording of that same event. Here is my brief introduction. It is self-explanatory. Just pause for the same. So here is the agenda for today. I'll give you the introduction, explain what is Database Security Assessment Tool in brief. I'll give the live demo and then we discuss the summary. So this is a map of the world and it gives the impression that the North America has the maximum breaches, which is not the case. It's purely due to the compliance and the implementation for the same, which is very strong in North America versus rest of the world. What we need to understand from this slide is that it's not just about payment card information anymore. It's about the personally identifiable information, personal health information, company's IP, and still some of the credit card as well. Please understand that the name suggests, all these big companies out here suggest that they all have their firewall in place, but still these data breaches happen in a massive scale. We have entered the age of mega breaches. 5 years ago, the largest breach were in the tens of thousands to millions of records. Today, we are dealing with hundreds of millions of records. As an example of the mega breach growth, the first Sony breach stole 12 million credit cards, while the most recent Sony breach exfiltrated 200 terabytes of data and shut down their IT. Anthem lost information about all of its subscribers and members since almost 50 years. Not that all of them were still members, but the database had all the sensitive data about every single member that there was ever there. This shows the importance of keeping only the data that is required in the system. In case of US Office of Personnel Management, they did not know for the longest time how many records have actually been stolen. Also in this case, it is not that they did not know what has to be done, but they seem to have some difficulty in applying new security technologies to existing applications. Summary is that this is occurring across every vertical and industry. No industry is immune. And it certainly is not limited to only the credit card data or PII data, but companies' IP as well, whether they are movies, sales forecast, supplier information, bug database, or password database, and anything else which is sensitive. A study by FireEye suggests that 95% of the companies have been breached. Companies fall into two categories: those who have been breached and those who don't know that they have been breached. So let me put it in a different way. I am sure you all have your laptop for the corporate work. And if you look at the laptop, they will have the antivirus, desktop firewall, anti-malware, biometric reader. You will have spam and email filtering. Automatically patch management will take place. There will be data encryption for your hard disk. And you will be enforced to put the strong password. There will be policies by the desktop team in your organization. Now, how about your database? If you are not a DBA, go and speak to the respective DBA, and you will see that all of these which are in place for the laptop which does not have very sensitive data is in place, but in your database all of these are lacking. So let's understand this in more detail. What are the common threat, meaning actors, vectors and targets that hackers would like to attack, or your company's information or data perspective? What are these? Let's understand. So the first at the top are cloud administrator, system administrator or DBA. Now it can be in production or the test and dev. There are hackers outside who would like to attack. There are application user, meaning the end user, and there is a help desk. At the bottom we have the applications, databases, operating systems, backup media and the network. Now when you look at the rightmost, how the risk multiplies. Once you set up the HA, that is high availability, you have two set of production environment or multiple set of production environment, then you need to protect. Hackers can attack any of them. Once you consolidate your database, it can be for the cloud, it is a good thing, but once you consolidate, hackers need to attack one place to collect all the data that you may have rather than in the silos earlier. If you have a legacy applications, then the security may not be as powerful. If you do outsourcing, we know the challenges related to outsourcing as well. Once you move to the cloud, your security administrator or the CSO need to think beyond your internal network or within your data center. He needs to think about the cloud security as well. So this is how the risk multiplies, and these are all the actors and vectors and targets in your organization. So why I am telling you this is because I will explain to you how to do the assessment in this situation. So what is the comprehensive database security controls? You first evaluate, you prevent this data, detect any challenges later, and look at data-driven security. So let's look at the evaluate part of it, and that's our focus today. Now, do you know what to evaluate? There are appropriate policies for accounts, privileges, roles, DBA accounts or not? Is auditing sensitive actions enabled or not? Do you have enforcing of separation of duties? Meaning the security officer versus DBA, same way separation of duty between application owner and database owner, or in the cloud world, separation of duties between the organization versus cloud support team. Do you have sensitive data encrypted or not? Do you protect sensitive rows and columns? Do you have security best practices and policies in place? Do your database configuration parameters securely configured or not? Now, do we have database security team? Do we have knowledge? Do we have time to analyze all this? If no, here is the solution for you. Introducing Database Security Assessment Tool. What does DBSAT check? It checks for you accounts, privileges and roles. It will check the authorization control. It will verify whether you have the data encryption in place or not. Do you have fine-grained access control? How about the auditing policies? Do you have database configuration? Is listener configuration secured? How about OS file permissions? So we checked total of 71 rules in this area. This is the flow of security assessment tool. On the left hand side is your business critical production database. You run DBSAT collector. It is a command line script which will supply to you. It will create an intermediate JSON file which you can forward to a different server or to person like me who can analyze it using the report command, which need not be on your production database but outside. And it will generate, after running the reporter command, it will generate color coded reports in 3 different formats at the same time: HTML, Excel, and text format. And all this activity happens, for example, JSON file will be encrypted and password protected, and the zip file which has HTML, spreadsheet, and text file is again encrypted and password protected. So let's look at this report. So this is the big header of the DBSAT report. It has the date, timestamp, and the version of the report that you run. What is the DB configuration and the summary. So if you look at the bottom of this, rightmost bottom of the screen, there are 71 areas which are covered. Which of them have severe risk, like basic information, user accounts? Which of them have a significant risk? Which of them have some risk? Which are the opportunities for improvement? There are some areas where we need your help to understand the risk related to these areas, because it can be your business or organization specific. And where do you pass? Where it is looking good. So this is a quick insight, which is the next page. So here are the sample findings I've collected for you. So as far as audit trails are concerned, your organization in this situation gets the full marks. For encryption, it is not there. So we put it in the opportunity for improvement. There are grants where we need to get more information, and so it is in evaluate state. And user accounts which are unlocked with default password, it is absolutely severe risk, and so it is marked in red. So here is the summary of the report, or the sample rules, where we cover user, privileges for data, privileges for DBA, authorization, encryption, redaction, and so on. So here is how the spreadsheet looks like, again color coded, and this is a text format. Now to run this report, which does the assessment for your database, what are the permissions that you need? Either you need a user with the DBA privilege, for example system, or you need to give this user the privileges or roles listed below. Say create session, select on data dictionary, views, and so on. And at the OS level, the Unix user should have the read access to Oracle home directory. And you need to have Python 2.6 or later, depending on which version of DBSAT that you are running. So it is very easy to install and run. I will demonstrate that to you in few minutes. You need to download this tool, which is freely available on support.oracle.com. It will collect security configuration data by executing command line DBSAT collect and put the output file, which is in JSON format, in encrypted and password protected mode. And then you run the report command DBSAT report on the target or somewhere else. And you can give the access to it restricted because it has the sensitive data. So let us run this report. And even before that, let's download the DBSAT. So I'm logged into support.oracle.com and I just type DBSAT. So the first row that you see, just click on that. You must read and click I agree. And it will download this zip file. It doesn't take even few seconds. Okay. So now let's copy it over. So I have this zip file here, dbsat.zip. I log into Oracle and copy it here. As you can see, it is completed. I'll log into my Unix server. And it is already here. I already stored my commands. I'll unzip this file. So now we are ready for the step number 1. This is called a collector. This is the password for the system. Now this JSON file, which is encrypted and password protected, which is db04.zip file. It is a JSON file. We have encrypted it and password protected it, as you can see. Now we will run it right here itself and give it a JSON file name. Again, we'll create the final zip file, which is encrypted and password protected. So these are the 3 files we have created: text, HTML, XLSX. We'll browse it. So here is the HTML file at Home Oracle DBSAT. Look at the HTML file, and here is the output. It just took few minutes to see all the information. As I explained, here is the date on which we have collected this information, version of the DBSAT, it's October 16 version. Our database is in archive mode, and here are the 73 parameters. In the version 1.1, it was 1.0.1, it was 71, now it is 73. And this is how we get, if the latest Oracle database PSU is not found, we give it a severe risk, for example. So this is how simple it is to implement the DBSAT, and the benefits are highly significant. You get the solution as well for your problem. So this is the complete end-to-end security that Oracle provides. And at the topmost, we recommend that you run the security assessment. And this is a summary of what we have done today. We quickly evaluate the risk to your Oracle databases by running the assessment. It will promptly identify security misconfigurations. It will significantly reduce the attack surface and exposure to risk. Safeguard your sensitive data by following the recommendations we provide. Raise security posture for your Oracle database, and it is a perfect defense in depth. Thank you. That ends my session or video. Please share your inputs or questions as a comment.